worked the night shift at a nursing home, specifically in the hospice wing. Spend enough time near the end, and death stops being frightening. It becomes something else. A quiet guest lingering just out of sight. Patient, unobtrusive, almost polite. But there's a difference between sensing death and meeting it face to face. That particular night still haunts me and my co-workers. We haven't spoken about it since. It feels like acknowledging it might breathe reality into something I'd rather keep locked behind the shaky door of memory. The night started typically enough. The hospice wing had 3 patients who were actively dying, meaning they were hours, maybe minutes, from passing. Pale skin, shallow breathing, silent vacant stares. Our task wasn't healing, but to ensure comfort as they drifted gently toward the inevitable. We had a good night crew, bonded by gallows humor and necessary laughter. It was our defense against despair, and I was the ringleader, the prankster who used humor to dull the edge of the constant presence of death. Sometimes, after a patient's room was cleared and belongings handed to grieving families, I'd slip inside an empty closet, hit the call button, and wait. When a colleague arrived, annoyed and expecting a malfunction, I'd burst out, turning their brief annoyance into startled laughter. It kept spirits up, kept us human in a place that constantly threatened to drain the life out of us. But that night, laughter failed to chase away the shadows. I was at the nurses' station, diligently filling out narcotic logs for Kent, one of our dying patients, when Becky, an aide, rushed in, eyes wide and glistening with fear. "You're here," she gasped, visibly startled at seeing me. "Been here all night," I said. "Something wrong?" She hesitated, eyes darting around the room. "I saw your shadow in the hallway, thought you were setting up another prank. But then I heard your laugh from here, and you can't be in 2 places at once." Curious, I walked with her down the dimly lit hallway. She pointed at a blank stretch of wall where the shadow had danced. I stood there, skeptical, even mimed movements to recreate the shape she'd seen. Nothing matched. "See, just tired eyes playing tricks," I reassured her. She nodded slowly, half believing. Later, as I made rounds, a sharp knock, 3 evenly spaced taps, snapped my attention toward the courtyard door. Behind the glass stood a figure, an elderly man, tall and thin, his dark fedora and long black coat oddly formal. He waited patiently, unmoving. Family, I thought, approaching cautiously. But the doors locked automatically at night, no way in without a nurse's code. I signaled for him to wait, fetch the nurse, and returned within moments. The courtyard stood empty. We stepped outside, the cool night air unnaturally still, oppressive. We called softly, searched briefly, but he'd vanished completely. "Strange," murmured the nurse, clearly unsettled but determinedly rational. I shrugged off the unease and entered the nearby patient's room, where my heart seized in my chest. Blood pooled on the floor, crimson smears trailing toward the bed. The patient, long immobile, had somehow fallen, dragging himself toward the door, hands scraped raw and bloody. His eyes were wide, unblinking, fixed on the dark window. We cleaned him carefully, respectfully, silence thickening with our shared, unspoken dread. Minutes later, checking another patient, I found only silence, unmistakably dead. The nurse confirmed quietly, "Gone," her voice tight. When I returned to the first man, He too had quietly slipped away. Death was common here, but this rapid succession was unsettling. Unease swelled into a silent panic. The nurse, normally composed, looked frazzled, buried beneath paperwork and dread. Retrieving fresh linens, I froze in place. He was there again, the man in black, walking calmly past the nurse's station, his presence radiating quiet certainty. He glanced toward me, eyes hidden beneath the hat brim, and whispered, chillingly familiar,
"One more, Ashley, and then I'm done for the night."
My blood froze. My name on his lips sounded intimate, like an old friend or an old nightmare. Driven by instinctive terror, I chased after him. A patient's door slammed ahead. Bursting inside, I found an elderly woman. Her breathing suddenly halted. Her eyes, startlingly clear, locked onto mine for one final painful moment before the life drained away. The window hung open, the room freezing cold, air thick with something darker than night. Shaking violently, I slammed the window shut. Behind me, the nurse whispered. I saw him too. We stood in horrified silence, neither daring to move or speak further. 3 patients dead within an hour. The man in black never returned, but I often find myself staring into shadows, wondering when he'll finish whatever macabre business he started. He said he was done for that night, but the nights come again, relentless, unending, and I can't help but wonder when he will too.